Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, with me, Gretta Chamberlain, Yvonne Kraeher, Leigh Stima, and the Realm of Beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the Realm of Beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Leigh, Yvonne, and myself, with the Realm of Beings, eagerly invite you to join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm Leigh, and I'm here with our co-hostesses, Gretta and Yvonne, and of course, the Realm of Beings. We're really happy to be on Transformation Talk Radio every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. When you hear the word Realm of Beings, you might ask yourself, who are they? And how do they operate in our lives? Why are they even coming through with these messages now? Can we all receive guidance? And if we do, how can we use it in order to flow through our lives with ease? These conversations will help you examine your life and your creation of reality. They will help you to shift your impressions and understand what you're creating in your life and how it shows up. Good morning, ladies. How are you?
Morning, Leigh. Morning.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Today, we're going to be working with the quote, "Understand that there is no beginning and no end. There is only the now, which is infinity, since tomorrow does not exist. Think in the now." That is another big one to unpack. Where are we going to start today?
Ooh, I know. First I want to say that there are so many different types of realities.
Types of realities.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
here we go.
Types. Yeah, here we go. It's like when you have a dream, that's a dream reality.
Okay.
And you're doing things in that reality as well. And I would like to emphasize again that we as individuals are always creating reality. There is not a second or a millisecond or whatever, however we can define time, goes by that we don't create reality. That's going on all the time. Because the main thing about reality is, one of the main things I should say, is choice. When you make choices. It's like I've told people that you decide you want to stand and walk. You have to make a decision. Are you going to start off with your right foot or are you going to start off with your left foot? That's a reality. If you start off with your right foot, you're doing one thing. You're using the energy for that. If you start off with your left foot, you're using the energy for that. So it's energy. I guess I want everybody to understand that because I've started to cough again. You know, coughing is a mental equivalency of wanting people to understand what you're saying. So to the audience, if I start coughing again, that just lets you know that I really want you to get this. That's what that means. So I hear the brains of Leigh and Yvonne turning. So I'm going to let them turn and give us some thoughts on that.
Yvonne, what say you?
What say I? I say this is even hard for me to understand. So I am just going to continue to stay in the now and recognize that by staying in the now, a good technique that I use is just focusing on my breath, because that is just about the only thing that I can, control, like that's going on in my body at this moment, is in breath, out breath. But if I venture beyond the now as I know it, as I perceive it, my head starts getting in the way of the now, and it starts saying, oh my God, what if the power goes out, and what happens this, and that, and anything could happen. So why worry about it? It's just like a negative, almost like a fantasy that it's going on in your head, and it's not true. It's not really happening. What's happening in this moment is the energy that we're putting forth with speaking about this topic, connecting with each other, connecting with the audience. So it's actually it gives you a lot of freedom when you start being in the now. Yeah, that's my opening comment.
Well, it can release you. Segueing on that comment that you just made, Yvonne, it releases us from hanging on to little hurts. Mm-hmm. It releases us from continually blaming somebody for things. It does a lot if we can stay in the now. But I just want to say that I know Leigh's has something to say to this, but I want to emphasize that everything is going on simultaneously. There is no past. There is no future. Everything is continuously going on. It's like it's been said that energy cannot be destroyed nor created. There you go. Cannot be destroyed or created. So energy is. And what is the energy? The energy is the force. So we're constantly in a state of creating in the now. We're never creating in the past. We're never creating in the future. We're only creating now. So focus here. We want to stop remembering when our mothers told us we were worthless. We don't need to hang on to that. That was an experience. It's still in existence, by the way. It doesn't go away. See, I was talking to a man yesterday that I was facilitating for, and I told him, I said, your birthing process, going through the vagina of your mother and coming out to be born is going on right while you are 50 years old talking to me. So nothing ever stops. What it is that you train yourself not to, and by training yourself, you're talking to your unconscious that this is something I don't want. I don't want to experience this anymore. So it encapsulates it, holds it down on the ground. You don't want it? Okay, let me know you don't want this. Okay, go ahead, Leigh. You were going to say something. I can tell. You can always tell when Leigh's getting ready to say something. Yeah.
Well, I think, wow, there was a lot to go through there. Oh, I'm still coming out of my mother's vagina. That's a big one somewhere. Aside from that, I think, before we delve into that, I think we might have to rewind a little, because I think so many people maybe are stuck in the mindset that things are just happening to them. Like they are an innocent bystander in this like motion movie that is their life, that they don't every moment create it. I think we have to maybe, emphasize or go back to that point a little bit, that they're creating it. And secondly, I mean, I'm sort of understanding that there is no past, there is no future. It is everything in the now. So, I mean, if we are talking about something that, see, it's hard to even speak in it with human terms, that we want to call in our vocabulary yesterday or 10 years ago, you know, if we're still thinking about it, if we're still retelling that story, I mean, it is right now because that's where it is. So if you're holding on to those things that you don't think serve you anymore, or talking about when so and so did so and so, I mean, it's just very interesting to think that even though you're saying that it was yesterday or 10 years ago, if you're still reliving it today, that means you're creating it today. So if you no longer need that, you can just release it and say it no longer serves you. But I definitely think we have to unpack a little that part where people think that they're just like a character in a play. I mean, there's that overarching experience, I guess, that we have as humanity, that collective unconscious. But then, I mean, how do we move it down to, you know, like the smaller view of individuals, if you can say that, since we're all connected, but that's something else.
Yeah, that's a sense of oneness.
Yeah.
I think each person, you know, sometimes we like to try and interfere or get with another person's reality. And where that really works out is when we're dealing with our children. You know, I've worked with parents and they really want their children. Oh, why is my son doing that? Or my son doesn't like me. My son is not getting along with me, all of that stuff. So it's to stay in the now with it, not go back and keep on rehashing and remembering something. Because, you know, one of the things that you can create for yourself out of rehashing these hurts over and over and over again. And we've talked about mental equivalencies. One of those is an experience in cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Because the mental equivalency for cancer is that we've held on to little hurts and we've stockpiled them until we decide that, okay, the unconscious is going to support you in showing you that you are holding on to little hurts.
Okay, question.
Yeah.
So before we manifest cancer in our physical vessel, I mean, what is the point in this now that we, I mean, is it that quick release? You know, like if we're unaware that we're, you know, still holding on to these things, you know, and we, like, instead of manifesting cancer in the physical vehicle, what is the way to just release those things that we may be unaware of? Is it just like I release all negative emotions that no longer serve me in this now? I mean, how do we do it?
I think you just touched on the what we call the QDR.
Right.
Quick, displace, replace. So I think people in the audience, many of them are using that now. Quite a few of our audience, members in the audience are using that. And that means it starts off the same way over and over again. I release. You got to have that in there. I release all emotions and thoughts. Because remember, how does the reality get created in the first place? It's a thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thought. And then you drive that thought with the emotion. The more emotion you put on it, the more that you can create something. If you consider it to be valuable to you or not valuable to you. That is a perception that you will have of the experience. But in actuality, everything is valuable. Because what is the purpose of it?
That last
week. Yeah, everything is valuable. Everything is good because we came into this experience called life, humanoid life, to learn lessons. And we chose and choose how we're going to learn those lessons. That's on us. It's not on anybody else. But we like to blame people, but it's not anyone else's responsibility, but ours.
Mm-hmm.
It's ours. And if we can stay in the now, we'll stay in the present and we'll deal with that right then and there. So the QDR assists us in doing that in the now, right then and there in the now. I release all emotions and thoughts that support me in being angry with Mary Jane. Or I release all emotions and thoughts that support me in not loving and caring about myself. Because it's in the QDR that you actually mention the that which you want to release. You know, if we're doing affirmations, and we've been teaching people how to do affirmations, we don't mention what we don't want. We focus on what we want. Well, in the QDR, it's different because it focuses on what you don't want. You got to tell your unconscious, I don't want this. I don't want this anger. So I release all emotions and thoughts pertaining to the event of me getting a divorce.
You do that with all kinds of addictions and everything like that, Greta. Could you be done with just about anything?
You can be done with anything, even a person.
And before we take our first break, and then we replace, we did the first half, the release part, and then we replace it with?
It's only one sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody wants to put in what it is you want to totally replace it. You don't have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing you say at the end is, I love myself unconditionally. See, because that one sentence is so powerful. When you love yourself, that is the energy, because this is energy now. I love myself. That sentence is energy.
Mm-hmm.
And that energy is saying, because I love myself, people I'm going to attract to myself, events that I'm going to attract to myself, prosperity that I'm going to attract to myself are going to be great. Why? Because those things must support. That's an important word, support me in loving myself unconditionally. When I put unconditional to it, it means I'm not planning on beating up on myself, because there are no mistakes. See, we have that word in all languages, mistakes. There are no mistakes. Everything is for a reason, because you've created it.
That is key to remember. We are creating our reality in the now. Can I, before we go to a break, you know what? I will save it for when we come back so we can open something fully and discuss it.
Okay.
We're headed into our first break. Thank you for listening to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm Leigh. I'm here with Yvonne and Greta and the Realm of Beings. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. I'm Yvonne. I'm here with Greta, Leigh, and the Realm of Beings, and we are on the podcast Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on Transformation Talk Radio every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. And we participate in lively discussions about quotations that have been downloaded through Greta and the Realm of Beings. And today we're talking about the following quote: understand that there is no beginning and no end. There is only the now, which is infinity. Since tomorrow does not exist, think in the now. Before our break, Leigh was just about to unpack something. So I'd like to hand the mic over to her, but I also would like to explore in this segment a little more, like a little review of the QDR, because I think providing our audience with the tools, or at least a review of the tools, is helpful in thinking a different way and shifting their reality and shifting their perspective. So Leigh, go ahead. I don't know what it was that you were wanting to talk about, but the floor is all yours.
Thank you. I wanted to ask, okay, I mean, it would be wonderful if we had the presence and awareness every time if we saw something unwanted to do the QDR in that moment, right? Okay, that is fantastic. If sometimes we're not there, if we can be present enough, is it helpful if we can just in, a moment of kind of silence in our mind when we're driving or doing the dishes or whatever, if we just started adding this sentence, I love myself unconditionally? Is that changing our energy field, Greta, to just sit and just say that to yourself, kind of like a mantra when you have a quiet moment?
Yes, I would agree with that, because that's energy. And you are, when you say that, you are talking to your unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking to the unconscious that, and you're telling it, hey, look, I know I'm creating all these experiences for myself, but throughout all of these experiences, regardless if I consider them to be great or small, good or bad, I still love myself. And that's important, because that alleviates with some people the feelings of guilt. It alleviates blaming yourself, because sometimes we'll create something and you say, why did I do that? Why did I create that? Why did I have an accident on my bicycle? Why did I fall down in my house? Why did I create that? So it's just say, okay, I did it. It happened, but I'm loving myself throughout the whole thing. Yeah, regardless. So it stops you. It's like, halt. I'm not beating up on myself anymore. Halt. I love me. Now, see, some people, that can be highly challenging, though, Leigh, to love oneself.
Understood. I have those challenges. I mean, I can only speak from personal experience, but I've been working with you for a long time, and I still find it sometimes challenging to even remember to say, I love myself unconditionally in those quiet moments. However, when I practice it more often, I do see really big shifts. So that is my listener challenge for the week to see, like, just in those, if you're not present enough to do the quick displace, replace in a situation, when you have those quiet moments, just repeat to yourself, because I ask everyone out there, how often do we find ourselves saying that you love yourself unconditionally, or love yourself at all? You can say I love you to someone else easily, but how many times do you turn that inward?
Right. That's why we say, take the time to fall in love with yourself. We're so busy trying to fall in love with somebody else. Mm-hmm. Especially Valentine's Day is coming up. Here we go, y'all.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. With the red
practice.
Heart. Yeah.
Almost it's like the 20 something. So we have like 3 weeks of practicing self-love to Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
That's my
yeah.
listener challenge. Keep it up until Valentine's Day and see what happens.
I think that's a great challenge. And just if I could chime in a little bit, that the more I practice that, I don't do the full on QDR, because once again, you're always just like stuck in a situation sometimes where it's like something unexpected happens and you're like, oh no, what do I do? But if you just take that pause and do half of that QDR and say, I love myself unconditionally, it's something, it's a start. And
Absolutely.
then it leads into the other piece of it, being more conscious of what is that activity that's going on there? Who is that person? What is that memory, that remembering, that little resentment that keeps building up or that never went away? It all leads to the same place of, like a piling on of more love, where, like you can choose between, am I going to pile on more resentment or blame or whatever, or I can choose that, I can shift out of that and keep piling on more and more unconditional love for myself. And that reverberates outward. It has an effect on everything. So, you're like in your head sometimes, oh, I'm going to attract the right person, but there's something to be said to be that right person.
Be the right person. Exactly.
Yeah. And love that person, because like, how could you expect somebody else to love you the way you want to be loved in your head, and you deserve to be, everybody deserves that. And if you don't do it to, for yourself. So I don't know, that's my little, my little muse on this. So yeah,
I think that was a wonderful news
coming up.
Oh,
good,
yeah.
good. Let's remind people next week and see how that challenge goes. Don't forget, I love myself unconditionally, no matter. You can say it 1,000,000 times every day. Don't wait till while you're doing the dishes or driving the car. Just the minute you open your eyes, or the last, right before you go to sleep, and that program will run all the time. So.
Mm-hmm. Because, but I want to say though, the more you practice the QDR from the very beginning of it, the faster you get at it. Mm-hmm. It's like learning how to walk. When we had to learn how to walk, we had to practice it, and then we fall down. Then we get up, or we crawled first. Some of us crawled first, some of us didn't. But it's learning how to write. We didn't know how to write in the beginning. We had a teacher, or our parents took our little fingers and say, "You go, down here, down and around, so that you can learn how to make an O or an H." So it's about practice. Everything that we talk about in this podcast since the very beginning is about practice. Do you want to practice? Do you mind practicing? Because somebody told me, they said, I forget to say that. So your point that you made, Yvonne, was very critical, because some people said, well, I forget. You know what I tell them? I said, you forget? You forgot to tell yourself that you love yourself? Or to say that 7-line affirmation in the morning when you get up? We talked about that in past podcasts. Here I go again.
Go, Greta, say it.
My goodness, my goodness. I really want people to get this, okay?
Listen
I
up,
keep coughing
everybody.
away. I get this little piece. It's like I don't know, it's like a little, I don't know if it's a fuzzball or whatever, but it gets in there. When you breathe in something, and that's what it is. It starts me coughing. So I keep attracting that to myself. And I'm going, okay, Greta, calm down. See, I got to talk to myself. Calm down, Greta. Everybody is getting this. You don't have to worry that they're not going to get this. Calm down. Love yourself unconditional.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there you go, right there.
From the teacher, you see? No.
some people, it tickles me because some people say, well, how did you go through this? One man told me I was experiencing a cold. Let me not say I had it, but I was experiencing one. And he said, how did you get that way? I looked at him very quizzically and I said, what do you mean? How did I get like this? And he said, well, with all the knowledge that you have, how can you have this experience? I said, it's real easy. I said, look around. Do you see me in this body? Yes. Mm-hmm. Very good. I said, do you see I'm human? Yes. Very good. Just because I have all this knowledge doesn't mean that I don't go through challenges. Doesn't mean that I don't create realities that I don't want. One day I found myself falling down the steps in my own house. I said, whoa, Greta. I remember I hung on. I had a cup of tea. Now, and it was hot. I took better care of that tea than I did myself because I made sure that the cup of tea got put on the steps. I mean, of course, this is going real fast. And I'm hanging on to the slats. And my little body just would not allow me to move it to stand up. So I said, Greta, you're hanging off of the slats. What are you going to do? This is my creation of reality. I called my husband. He was taking a shower. He said, I'm coming. I said, now, how long can I hold on to these slats? I hadn't gotten up to the first landing because you get to a landing, then you turn a corner and then you go up to the second floor, right? And I'm just hanging on. I said, now, what are you going to do, Greta? You got a choice. You can continue to hang on like this, and it's getting more and more uncomfortable. Look what I was creating. Or you can just let go and fall right on back down. So I said, I'm going to let go and just fall all the way back down. So I let go and I went boom, 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 boom. And I said, yes, here I am on the ground again. And I just laid there. Then I saw my husband. He said, what are you doing? He always asked me, he said, what are you doing down there? I said, well, I fell. And then we had to figure out how we were going to get me up. Now, that was experience unto itself. I won't even bother the audience, but I know one thing. It took us 20 to 30 minutes to figure out how to get me off of the floor. So guess what I got? I got more attention from my husband. How about that? I just realized that.
Wanted.
Yeah. I guess so. To take 20 to 30 minutes to get your butt up off the floor. Come on now.
But see, that was like a perfect segue though, Miss Greta, to, sometimes we just have to make the decision, like, do we want to keep creating this or do we want to let it go? Right? Mm-hmm. How many times do we hear about like surrendering and letting things go? So, I mean, when we find ourselves in these situations that we're creating that are maybe unwanted, falling down the stairs, an argument, whatever, I mean, maybe that's what we have to pause and just say, do we want to keep creating this or do we want to let it go? And then you do your QDR and love yourself and carry on.
Well, I really
and think like, oh, damn, I can create something better than falling down the stairs for my husband's attention.
Right. But I got to feel him putting his arms around me, around my waist.
Oh, come on, Greta, you can create better than that. Work on
Valentine's is coming, remember, folks.
Exactly.
Oh, Lord. I tell myself, how many times, Greta, do you have to fall over? I said, I don't like this. I don't like falling. I don't want to do this. So I haven't done it. I haven't fallen since.
Oh, bravo.
but I have fallen previously. I fell in Chinatown 1 year, about maybe 2-3 years ago. I fell flat. My husband was walking in front of me and I tried to grab him by his pants, so I could keep myself from falling all the way down. And it was like, I just missed him by a hair. And I remember talking to myself, I said, Greta, you're falling again. So just go down easy. Don't hurt yourself. Just relax. All this is going through my head now. And then finally I went, ah! And then the people that were on the sidewalk with me went, ah! And then my husband, of course, wanted to know, well, what happened? What's going on that everybody's gasping, right? So he turns around and it's me. It's all about me. I got attention, y'all. I got attention from all those people. Look what Greta did. Pay attention to me. I'm here. Pay attention to me. And so he comes back to me and the only thing he does, he kind of blew my bubble though, because he said, why are you down there?
Again, that's always what he asks you, it seems.
Why are you down? So he told me, he said, from now on, I'm going to walk behind you because I'll never know when you're going to drop out of sight.
That is so interesting, Greta. There's so much in there about not feeling seen and attention, right? And maybe, we've talked about this before, falling down is the anger bits.
Mm-hmm.
But wow, there's a lot of human insecurities, right?
That's right.
Are coming out. And I think that's another thing for the listeners to remember. Just, what we don't understand unconsciously will manifest. We will create in the physical world. I guess, especially when it's about time we be done with it, right?
Yes.
Like it comes in the physical, comes knocking, because that's the last place, because there are so many other layers of our being. So when it starts knocking on your physical door, you better pay attention.
Because that's why you're creating. Yes, because that's why it's knocking.
Right.
See, it's knocking like my coughing experience. This is the second episode that I have coughed on. One episode was when the realm of beings was talking. And I remember you asked, you said, how are you? And they said, we're waiting for Greta. She's coughing, And it's like, how many times do you have to do something? How many times do I have to fall? Because falling is, I was angry about something. I was really angry. When I fell in Chinatown, I was angry. When I fell in my house, I was angry. So, how many times am I going to be angry and fall down? Because the only person I'm hurting by that is Greta.
Right.
Nobody else feels a bruise on the knee but Greta. Nobody else feels that they can't get up but Greta. So I'm hurting myself. So I had to stop and say, look, we're not doing this anymore. This is old. Right. I don't want to experience this. This is too much. It's too much.
That is a good place to have our listeners kind of remember that lesson as we move on to our second break here. We're going to come back in a few minutes after the break, and we will see what the realm has in store for us today. So let's take a short break here on Transformation Talk Radio. We are Greta, Leigh, and I'm Yvonne with the Realm of Beings, and we're here every Friday on Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. Thanks for listening. We'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Shifting Impressions. I'm Leigh. I'm here with Yvonne and Greta, and the Realm of Beings will be joining us. this portion of the podcast, and we will hear directly what they have to share with us today. Realm, are you here?
Yes.
Hello. Today we are discussing the quotation, "Understand that there is no beginning and no end. There is only the now, which is infinity. Since tomorrow does not exist, think in the now." What do you have to tell us and our listeners today about this quotation?
Think of this circle. Think of the circle that we've made with Gretta's hands. Think of the circle.
Mm-hmm.
Think that everything is in that circle.
Mm.
Everything that you can perceive. And think of another species on another planet, thinking of everything that they or he or she or it can perceive. Then think of another individual. Think of an ant on this planet and an ant in another universe on another planet. And they are thinking about everything that they can perceive within their abilities of thinking, within their capabilities. A lot of times humans are not using their full capabilities, but let's assume you are. And you think of everything that's within your perception. And you put it all together inside this circle. That is the now. Everything exists in the now at all times. It's never 2 days in the past. Those what you think of as 2 days in the past are going on simultaneously while all these other activities are going on. Now, inside that circle, for each individual, notice I didn't say person, I said each individual. You have thoughts, you have memories, you are in dream states where you're creating reality. All your realities, all of them that you have perceived to be, and all of your probabilities. What are probabilities? Probabilities are other opportunities that you can choose from. Like, I want to go ice skating tonight, or I want to go have dinner with my friend, or I want to stay home tonight and look at a movie. So there are 3 probabilities there. They're all there. They're waiting for you. So inside this major reality is everything, your probabilities. So your choices exist simultaneously with the ones that you have chosen. It's not a separation. But the circle that I've made with Gretta's hands is very important because everything is in there. This circle is the force that creates, that is always consistently, concisely creating reality at every moment. At every moment. Now, for humanoids, if we say moment, it's going to mean one thing. For a hawthorn species, moment will mean something else. But nonetheless, there's variety inside here. What does variety do? It keeps you interested. What can I create next? That's what the circle is. All of creation. Now, guess what it does? Everything inside this circle is one with everything else that's inside this circle. Because everything inside this circle, which contains infinity, which to you has no end. Humanoids have a concept of infinity. Infinity has a beginning because you have to see a beginning so you can feel more, how do I say? I wanted to say safe. You feel safe if you can see something in the beginning. It's hard to conceive of something existing that had no beginning and has no end. That's because because of your concept of reality. But there are other realities out there that have no beginning and no end. There's only the isness of it. And this is isness inside there. All the emotions are inside there. All of the thoughts that anyone or any individual has had. All the thoughts that a dog has is inside this circle. Why? Because the dog is an energy essence. All the thoughts of spiders is inside here. Each spider has its own creation of reality. Each spider thinks, makes decisions. Do I want to bite this person or not? That's a decision. And you can support the spider by unconsciously saying, okay, come on, it's all right, bite me. You know, but all, A-L-L, and the all goes way beyond what you can imagine. You have no imagination that can lead you to the all the way you are now. You are in this humanoid vehicle. It's even difficult for humanoids to see that every cell in your body is an energy essence. Is an energy essence. You see, the now, another way of saying now, is all. All. The now is this, the containment of everything in this circle. Now. It's not divided up and saying, okay, these experiences, we're going to put them over here because that's the past. And these probabilities that can be future choices, we're going to put them over here. No, everything is right there. Everything is in this circle. In English, it's A-L-L, all. Because everything inside that circle is the force. So the now that you've all been talking about this morning is really been talking about oneness. We've been listening to you. You've been talking about, Greta told about her experiences falling down the steps, and that was quite interesting for us as she fell, because we were right there watching her. But the thing is that the now is everything. Everything is oneness. So your conversation and your lesson today was all about oneness. It's like some people think, okay, this person died. My goodness. You believe in the concept of death. Death is a concept of separation. There is no separation. Inside this circle, everything is one. Everything exists in some form or another because the force has created it to exist in that form. Everything, I don't care what it looks like, it's the force. Everything, even your emotions, are the force.
Realm.
That's why you don't want to beat up on yourself. Yes, Leigh, you were going to ask us a question.
I was just going to let you know that if you have one final thing to say, because we are about to wrap up this episode of Shifting Impressions.
Stay in the now, which is a state of staying in the oneness of all.
Thank you, realm of beings. Thank you, listeners, for staying with us and sharing in this conversation. I'm Leigh with Yvonne, Gretta, and the realm of beings, signing off for now until we create each other again. Thanks for listening to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings.
Once again, thanks for joining us at Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on TransformationTalkRadio.com. As you have explored today's creation of reality experience with Leigh, Yvonne, the Realm, and me, Gretta, each of you is being supported by us in further developing the understanding that you are not just an individual existing in linear time and space, but a multi-dimensional force of infinite possibilities who is connected to all. So begin to create the realities you want. Join us every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Shifting Impressions at TransformationTalkRadio.com. So long until we create each other again next Friday.